Hello and welcome to the Beyond Podcast. We are talking about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I am the Planet Buster Mediocrity 4.
Here with some wine to calm my nerves from this most frustrating of Star Wars episodes. Not worst, but most frustrating. I am Dude, what the heck?
And I am the Dark Lord of the Sith. I am Robert.
So, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the end of the original saga.
End of the pre-Disney
what was imagined
stuff.
as the final Star Wars film.
Yep.
And that was really the main driving creative force in this movie was wrapping up every single little loose end George Lucas can think of.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one of
Two
the many issues this movie
varying
has.
degrees of success. Yeah.
Mostly on the low end of success, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just because
I love this movie. I loved it as a kid.
Just because you technically wrap something up doesn't mean you wrapped it up well.
Yeah.
Just found out
But
why
yeah.
everyone's volume is so low. My headphones are turned down.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that affects the capture at all. But I could barely hear you guys. But that's because my headphones are just turned down.
Sorry about that.
Not your fault.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like this was I do agree that I think it was probably the best of the original trilogy, but in a lot of places it felt very
best
meh.
of the prequel trilogy, but
yeah, best of the prequels.
As we're gonna get down, there's a couple missed opportunities that they had here.
A couple.
And a lot of problems that just carried over from Attack of the Clones. Like that was always my big issue is that Attack of the Clones being as mediocre and meandering as it was, kind of Revenge of the Sith had its work cut out for it right out the gate.
Yeah, it had a lot to make up for, and I think that brought it down in several places.
Also, I would say that Attack of the Clones was not mediocre. Attack of the Clones was bad, and that's too much of a compliment. I'd say this movie is mediocre.
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
So, and the problem with building the entire movie around tying up every little loose end, especially since this takes place technically in the middle of the story, is that we already know what happens, and this is the movie that kind of suffers from that prequel problem the most. I would say Phantom Menace suffers from it the least, since the Phantom Menace is just so far removed from anything else going on in any of the other movies. Kind of makes it pointless, and why it's usually skipped in the machete order, but it's actually a strength in Phantom Menace that you don't know what's going on because it's so far removed from the fall of Anakin Skywalker, which is something we all knew was coming and comes for a long time in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not as long as a lot of people would want, but I was always kind of fine with that aspect of it. But we start off. This movie is actually structured very similarly to Return of the Jedi, and I think suffers from those problems as well as the problems with Attack of the Clones and other problems with the prequels.
Yeah, I kind of just started trying too hard to be like the originals.
Well, I was saying the first 20 minutes can be completely cut from this movie and turn into its own episode in a TV show. An absurdly high budget TV show.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the things I noticed. I was like, once they finally crash landed the Separatist ship and they saved, the Chancellor and everything, I was like, or even before that. But the whole time I was thinking, God damn, is this not done yet? Like, have they not saved his ass yet? This is taking forever. I forgot that they, like, honestly, I had completely forgotten that they ended up with Grievous in that rescue scene. I thought, for some reason, I'd always thought it's like, okay, they killed Dooku and they get him off. Like, why was that not the way it happened? Why did we need to see Grievous there? Why did we need to have R2 fucking with the droids? Why, like, all of it just lasted forever.
Yeah.
The elevator stuff is so unnecessary. It was really frustrating from the very beginning. I'm like, this is already pissing me off.
Yeah, and it was more frustrating than like, then in episode 6 where they do something very similar because we're not expecting it. Like we want, we want the, like in episode 6 we knew, okay, they have to get Han back first, so like we understood that. With this, it's like they just kind of threw it in, and
we didn't know that the Emperor the Emperor, we didn't know that the Chancellor was kidnapped before that movie, so it's not like we really gave a shit about that. And we did, and with Han, it's like, yes, they need to get Han, and more than that, it showed us a lot about Luke at the time. That was quite revealing.
Yeah.
So there's that as well.
Jedi Knight Luke.
Yeah, Jedi Knight Luke.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. So that still did a lot for it, and we'll also admit that could have been shortened as well in that film too. And also we got some more
exactly that.
But it's still better than in this one. This was just like we didn't have as much of a reason to give a shit about it, and I didn't give a shit about it, to be honest. Besides, for me, it was just more like, God damn it, they really wasted Dooku here. Like that guy was actually a good actor. Yeah. He was good in this. He was like the only decent part. But him and Ewan are the only decent parts of Attack of the Clones, and it's just frustrating to see him go out kind of like a bitch in this film. It's like,
yeah.
I'm glad we get so much of him in the Clone Wars TV show, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's the separatist leader. Episode 2, we saw the very beginning of the Clone Wars. Episode 3, it's like the end game.
It's the final countdown.
And I mean, leading up to Episode 3, we did get the Jenny Tartakovsky Clone Wars series, which did a very admirable job filling in the gaps, and Dooku has some really awesome moments, or at least one awesome moment, when he's talking to when he's recruiting Saj Ventress. He's like, "You wear the trappings of the Sith. You fight like the Sith. These can be imitated, however. You lack a vital quality found in all Sith. Sith have no fear, and I sense much fear in you."
Nice.
And then Saj gets all like freaking uppity about it, like, "You're nothing but a foolish old man who knows nothing of the dark side." He's like,
dude, Ventress is dope, actually. I have to admit, Ventress is one of my favorite characters in that series and in the Clone Wars series as well.
And it's because of her that I count both the Jenny Tartakovsky and the Dave Filoni canon. At least Jenny Tartakovsky up to chapter 20 as canon.
Because Tartakovsky one is not canon anymore.
It describes like how Anakin went from Jedi Apprentice at the end of Episode 2 to Jedi Knight at the beginning of Filoni's Clone Wars. It's how he got his scar. It's how he first met Ventress. It's why they know who Grievous is.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's technically not. I'm just pointing that out. And the Filoni one
it's why Obi-Wan Kenobi wears that like Stormtrooper general armor.
Yeah, and which is why does he take? And that's confusing that he doesn't have it in the other thing. But
in the movie,
it is the Tartakovsky one is technically not canon, and the Clone War, the Filoni one is technically canon.
Yeah,
which is a shame because the Tartakovsky one is also good, very good. Some people say it's better. I disagree, but it's still very good. Still better than the movies.
It's more consistent. It's more consistently good.
Yeah, it is more consistently good. Yes, there are a lot more duds in the. Well, aren't we doing an episode on this too? Do we don't have?
I don't know. We might.
We're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
It can just be me talking the whole time. I can if you guys don't watch all the
I've been trying to
episodes.
get caught up, but yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I was
'Cause
just using the Jenny Tartakovsky Clone Wars as kind of like a primer for
Yeah.
like that. This was all supposedly set up in the last 5 chapters, 21 through 25 of the Tartakovsky version, which actually ended up because of Cartoon Network scheduling coming out after the movie. After the
Thanks, Cartoon
after the
Network.
movie aired.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Cartoon Network. Good job. No
Yeah.
wonder you suck.
But yeah,
And
they
Tartakovsky was like balls deep in Samurai Jack season 4,
fair.
which you can tell.
But
Like,
yeah,
going
they-
back and watching Samurai Jack, like as soon as season 3 starts, which is when he would have been working on the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
all the Star Wars sound effects and voice actors just start every episode Star Wars stuff.
You would have
Nice.
thought that other companies would have seen this, and then they would have learned a lesson about maybe working on too many projects at one time. Rooster
DC.
Teeth.
Oh, I said I was going DC.
Also, Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
No,
But-
I'm kind of
yeah.
glad that Justice League bombed, but I'm also kind of sad because that's a lot of people who aren't going to be able to find work again for a while.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of people are going to be out of work for some time. Yeah. But yeah. Also, I was going to say, speaking of like, I don't know. But yeah, so they have the whole, yeah, kind of like what you said. They kind of wasted Dooku here. Also,
Yeah, they did.
I was really disappointed with this
would have been
portrayal
a good
of
time to kill
Grievous.
off Darth Maul. Like
Yeah.
in the belated media
Yeah,
version,
belated
and it's also like my
media.
version. If I were to rewrite the prequels, Darth Maul would have been throughout the entire trilogy, and this would have been where he died. And that would have been the purpose
Yeah.
of this first 20 minutes, which that is really the purpose of this first 20 minutes, is to
Yeah.
kill off Dooku, and then also like
Yeah.
get in the ship, kill Dooku, get off the ship. It's almost
Yeah.
like its own
And
3-act story.
Yeah. And it does also kind of. I feel like this movie does a bit of a better job definitely better than episode 2 did of kind of
Being
helping us
fun.
helping us understand like what's going on between Anakin and Obi-Wan. It does a bit of a better job of making us feel like, you know, they're friends and stuff like that, that they have those little bits of witty banter, and like this movie in general, I feel, does a better job of establishing their relationship. But yeah.
Yeah, it does.
But I was-
still not as well as the TV shows do, but it's better at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the TV, like Clone
But-
Wars, they saw that was Dave Filoni saw that was kind of a weakness in the prequel movies, and that's what he made the entire focus of the show on.
Yeah,
he,
it was
you can almost call everything that they do in the TV show as a direct response to the lack of
yeah.
it
The
in
shortcomings of the
Like
prequels.
watching
Yeah, definitely.
watching the prequels now after having watched Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the Filoni version, I'm like, and then having watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is like probably what I would say would be like the thing where Filoni really cut his teeth on how to make great TV. You can really tell that he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this better. Like, look at you fucked this up. I'm gonna do this just better with my lower budget
Yeah.
TV show than you did with your
Ca-
movies.
Yeah, kind of a fan who,
And
yeah,
in fairness, he totally 100% did.
yeah, kind of a fan who, like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, definitely, kind of a fan who's like, you know what? I can do this better than the creators. I enjoy this project too much to just let this be the end.
Yep, and that's
Yeah.
what he did.
Yeah,
The funny thing is,
Yeah,
I used to say because that the Clone Wars, the Clone Wars TV show, the Filoni version, made the prequels better. Now I actually say it differently. It makes them look even worse because it's better.
it shows them up.
It does all of the things better. Like Ahsoka's situation.
Yeah, instead of doing what Winter
It's
Soldier
just-
did for Iron Man 2, it does what Civil War did to Batman v Superman.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah, and yeah, I was really disappointed with like Grievous in this because I don't know, like coming up to it, I was like, oh, you know, cool. this badass leader of the droid arm.
Grievous was the most disappointing thing as a kid because, again, like I watched the Tartakovsky miniseries as it was coming out. Chapter 20's one of the raddest pieces of animation I've ever seen. The introduction to Grievous, like that's one of the coolest freaking things to ever have the Star Wars name attached to it. But Tartakovsky made that before George Lucas was finished with the script.
Yeah.
It was like right after he had approved Grievous's design. And that really goes a long way of showing one of the fundamental problems with George Lucas's writing in these movies, that he approved the design and then built the personality around it.
Yeah.
That's a problem he has.
Yeah. And Grievous is like...
It goes to show with a lot of the stuff like... well, I mean, for instance, that they built all the sets first. They came up with all the set pieces first and then wrote around those. That's what video game people do.
Yeah.
And that's why
especially
like the first
look
third,
how well that's worked out for them.
And the first third and all the Order 66 stuff feels like a video game.
Yeah.
It does. They we'll complain about Order 66 later because goddamn is that stupid.
I love that scene though.
Yeah.
As a concept.
Yeah. But General Grievous, like, I don't know. Just he comes in and you're thinking, oh wow, this badass droid I guess
Android
mostly
general,
droid. Cyborg mostly, I don't know. Living droid general who, was responsible for killing hundreds of Jedi and stuff like that. And he's kind of a wuss in this. Like, I don't know, Anakin and Obi-Wan break loose and he runs. It's like, you fought Jedi before, dude. You should be like this. I don't know. And then we'll get to this later, but when he fights Obi-Wan under the palace, like, that was
this is another reason why I like the Tartakovsky version a little more. And this part I wouldn't consider canon as far as like the Star Wars series goes. It's probably why the Tartakovsky version is not considered canon, is because in the Tartakovsky version, the reason why Grievous is like that is because literally earlier that day, Mace Windu just went.
Yeah, see, the thing is...
So, like, he cried,
Mace Windu went freaking... Tartakovsky loves Mace Windu.
Because the thing is, in the Filoni version, what's his face? Grievous
is already like that.
He's kind of already more of a joke, and they kind of treat him as such in the which I'm fine with. I actually like the way they do it because they just keep him. He's consistently always running away for the most part. He can kill crappy Jedi, but he sucks versus good Jedi. Like
Kit Masters.
Kit Fisto beats the fuck out of him easily, and he only gets away because he runs away. And that's actually a pretty good episode too. But
isn't that a layer of Grievous?
Yeah.
I love that episode.
Like
I think that was the first episode.
Like he beats Fisto as a former Padawan, no problem. Just like no problem. But then Fisto is just
Fisto just fists him. So
I think my headcanon is that it has more to do with the Force. Like in terms of raw skill, Grievous can own any Jedi, but because he can't use the Force, anyone who's not a Padawan can just go.
Yeah, the novelization kind of did that with his fight with Obi-Wan, which I thought was pretty cool. But
where Obi-Wan basically just toyed with him and
because he's a master with the Force and stuff like that, and he lets it guide him. Yeah.
He's a master of the form that was invented to deflect blasters.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And the novelization's pretty good in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I love how they just stroke Obi-Wan's ego with Mace Windu. I have never seen a master of Form 3 as much as Obi-Wan.
Is it Ceresu, right?
Yeah, Ceresu, I believe is. That's how I pronounce it. I always pronounce it as Ceresu.
I don't know. Yeah, you could be right. I
There's
don't
no
really
official
know.
pronunciation because they haven't said it in the movies or TV show. So until they
I
do,
mean, don't forget, George Lucas called the Gungans Goongas, so you don't know.
I mean, I'm sure there's different accents on Naboo.
But anyway,
Tomato.
so what's the scene after? The next scene after that is actually, in my opinion, what might actually be the best scene in the whole film. And that's the scene where Padme tells Anakin she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And as much as the relationship between Padme and Anakin is overdone throughout all three of the prequels, really, I have to admit that this scene was
George
good.
Lucas was writing from experience on this.
Yeah, this scene was good, and not only that, it was well acted. This is the scene that almost everybody uses to be like, "Yo, Hayden Christensen can actually do stuff right when things go right, and he's not
when he's allowed to be subtle."
Yeah, when he's allowed to be subtle, like he does act that scene very well.
Yeah.
In fact, I might even argue that's the best acted scene in the entire prequel trilogy.
And I'm just glad that...
And it's done by Hayden Christensen. The best acted scene is by Hayden Christensen in the prequel trilogy. I really honestly think that. Because it's the most subtle, was the most difficult thing to pull off. And he does it well. You can see the nervousness. You can see how scared he is. You can see him play it off by laughing. And that was a really well-delivered line.
Yeah.
Honestly, fucking fantastic.
I love how they don't do the thing that a lot of prequel type stuff do with scenes like this, where they talk up the babies. It is in this case babies. Even though they don't find that out until the end. Like Anakin doesn't find out until like 25 years later. Sister.
Yeah.
But I've been experiencing the story of Naruto again because I've been playing the games. But when Minato and Kushina find out that they are pregnant with Naruto, they start acting like he's already going. Like they already know he's gonna be they already know he's gonna be the protagonist.
Yeah, and they already know and they already know he's a boy somehow.
Ninja magic.
Chakra, apparently.
Ninja
that's a dick. Yeah.
What was the joke in Avatar? Like chakras.
Basically.
But yeah, they did. But yeah, I do agree that, like, I guess what I'm thinking about right now is the fact that I don't know, Minato decides to, like, I do agree that, like, Minato's whole reason for sealing the Nine Tails inside of Naruto was, like, because he's our son and I know he will be able to, control it and be a good person. How the hell do you... Sorry, what?
I always figured that part was more out of necessity because Naruto and Kushina were the only two people whose bodies could withstand the chakra because they're from the Uzumaki
That's
clan.
Also true.
And
That's also
true.
true.
Kushina just wasn't going to make it.
Yeah. But I thought that was
a little bit. I think Kushina could have been a little more desperate, as far as like, being wounded and stuff. Being like, there's no way I can do this right now. No way I can survive getting a nine-tailed fox healed in me. But anyway, we're putting him to sleep because we're talking about something he's never watched.
Sorry, but I thought that was part of the reasoning that Minato. I know we can do it. It's like, how do you know he's an infant? But anyway. Back to Star Wars.
Okay, hearing this sounds stupid, and I am glad they didn't do this. Let's put it that way. That does sound dumb.
That is the only downside to that entire arc, because the rest of that is just beautiful.
I do like it. It is.
The rest of the
okay, but that does sound dumb. That is dumb.
I mean, that's why I pointed it out for this example, and how Star Wars actually did it better.
Yeah, but you do have Anakin insisting, no, this is going to be a good thing. Like this should be a good thing for us and stuff like that. Our baby is a blessing. He doesn't want to. And I do I think a lot of this.
You sound like Ted Mosby. Our baby is a blessing.
Sorry, that was weird. My bad.
I just want to make fun of Ted Mosby for a second because that character is actually really annoying.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I think Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman do kind of I think they both do pretty okay actually in these scenes with when they're discussing things with their baby. Although it does suck that something that was pointed out in the CinemaSins thing on this is that Padme kind of becomes pretty wimpy in this movie. I mean, for obvious reason, baby and stuff like that.
Yeah,
she's pregnant,
I
but
was
it does
gonna point
feel
out-
like kind of a bummer because she's been like I said, you know, when we talked about the first episode, you know, this warrior woman or this warrior senator and stuff like that. So that is kind of a bummer, but I get it.
Watch her in the TV show, man. She's a fucking badass.
Yeah, no, I've seen parts of it. Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, but in fairness, I also kind of chalk that up to I honestly believe that Hayden Christensen delivers a better performance in this film than Natalie Portman does.
Yeah,
I really do think that. And as much as Natalie Portman's done a very good job in a lot of other films, and I don't know anything that Hayden Christensen has done since, which I mostly blame George. I mostly blame George Lucas for that at this point. But so I mean, either way, that was actually a good scene. Shit, I'm honestly starting to forget what comes after because then it's just like Anakin bitching about the council for the longest time. It's like
he hangs out with Palpatine. He hangs out with Palpatine, then he hangs out with Obi-Wan.
I don't know. And this was one thing that
all right.
Yeah, it's a lot of it feels a lot like we have to explain this, we have to explain this, we have to explain this.
A lot of bouncing back and forth between stuff, and some very choppy pacing, and it's like, whoa, slow down. But and I do. Sorry, go ahead.
As a result, I just feel like, I mean, and not just as a result of that, but there's. I guess my point really has to wait, but it's a lot of back and forth, and we don't get a real impact of anything because they're always like cutting back and forth. It's the same thing with episode 2, and this isn't because of episode 2. This is they make the same mistake again in that we don't have a singular protagonist. It's not told from anybody's point of view, whereas
they tried doing a dual protagonist with both this and Attack of the Clones. Where Obi-Wan goes off on his interesting subplot, and Anakin is stuck with
on his whiny subplot,
the boring B plot. Yeah,
which is supposed to be the A plot because that's the stuff that actually.
It's supposed to be the A plot, but it feels like a B plot. It feels like B plot.
Yeah, and that's
it has the impact of B plot
because in both films, what is he doing when Obi-Wan is off doing interesting things? He's whining to Padme. That's what he does in episode 2, and that's what he does in episode 3. And
this time he whines to Padme and Palpatine, which is infinitely better.
Yeah.
Which is better, but the point still stands that like that's not because of episode 2 that they make the same mistake again. That's like not that's not episode 2 harming episode 3. That's episode
that's
3.
Them not learning from episode 2.
That's them not learning from episode 2.
Yeah. And one thing I will say this, one thing that I do like, I guess another thing that I feel like I like about this that I don't know, I feel like is another thing they had to fix from episode 2 though, is establishing Anakin's relationship with Palpatine and stuff like that. Because in like episode 2, you know, we have that one scene between them where we get the idea that there's something there, but it's kind of presented very vaguely and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, see, I have a problem. See, the thing is with that is, again, to me, it feels like they're spending too much time trying to explain it.
Yeah.
And they don't actually do a fantastic job of it. Because they do a decent job of showing how they build a relationship in some way. But they don't actually do it well. I'm just going to jump to like the end of the movie now here anyway, because I just can't I can't hold this back anymore because it really has to do with the whole film. The biggest problem I have with this film is that the fact they portray Anakin as, and I wrote this down in our chat on our Discord.
Yeah.
The worst part about Revenge of the Sith is that they portray Anakin as becoming a Sith because of Padme. Yeah. That's the whole reason he becomes a Sith, right? But that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like they tell us that that's why, and he says that he's going to pledge his allegiance for Padme, but really that doesn't actually make any sense because how does that make him go kill little kids?
Yeah.
Like, they portray him even in the film, especially in this one beforehand, that he's actually
that whole thing with killing the younglings was like just there for shock value. It felt like,
and it's
but
like
that
we
was a
can
big controversy in 2005.
Yeah, it's like we can put 2 and 2 together. We can figure it out. Nobody, I don't know. If we're talking about Naruto again, nobody needed to see Itachi kill little kids. We assumed.
It's not even that. It's not even that, though. The problem, like, I don't care if they show whatever. Like, I don't care about political correctness, all that shit. I don't care.
I don't care either. But
that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the fact that there's no, like, he's being whiny the whole time, so you know he's going to be a bad guy. And they don't. George Lucas does a terrible job of portraying the conflict in Anakin, because in one scene he's like complimenting Obi-Wan and thanking Obi-Wan, and then the next time he sees Obi-Wan, he hates him and wants to kill him. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
like Lucas really fucked that up. That's just stupid. He's less whiny in this one than he is in 2, but like that's saying the new Toyota Prius is slightly less shitty than the last Toyota Prius. It's still a piece of crap, okay? So like I was saying, like, he becomes a Sith because of Padme. That's awful writing. That is really shitty, because again, how does that make him willing to kill younglings when you see him in everything else? Like, he is supposed to be portrayed as a basically good person who if he's becoming a Sith for a selfless reason, like, why is he going up and killing people? Why does it make him, the next time he sees Obi-Wan, goes from thanking Obi-Wan to hating Obi-Wan? They don't show Palpatine putting that much crazy thought into his head. And here's the other thing that really pisses me off. They have that thing. They have that scene where Mace Windu says to Yoda that the Jedi should take over the Senate if Palpatine doesn't give his power back, right? That is only meaningful if... Can you imagine how meaningful that would be if Anakin heard that? You just... Like, I forgot, because I paid attention to it this time. Anakin never finds that out. Anakin never finds out that Windu said that the Jedi would take over the Senate if Palpatine didn't give up his power. That is actually grounds for distrusting the Jedi. That is grounds for distrusting the Council. That is grounds for hating, that makes the Jedi look like assholes. And yet that's actually not brought up. That's not in Anakin's mind, because Anakin never even finds that out.
Yeah.
Another point. Why does Anakin stay a Sith after Padme dies? What's the point? Why doesn't he feel more badly? Why doesn't, literally, honestly, if you think about it, the way he's portrayed in these films, the way he's portrayed in my mind, what he would have done after Padme dies, well, fuck you. You didn't even help me save her. I'm going to go back and beg forgiveness from Obi-Wan. That's what I would have thought. And yet he doesn't. That's, again, they're trying to explain everything, and they explain everything like shit. That doesn't actually make any sense.
Yeah.
So,
and this was something that I think I agree with Belated Media on. I don't know. So with Belated Media's videos, there's a couple things that I don't entirely agree with him on. I don't know. I don't agree with making the prequels as if people have never seen the original trilogy. I just don't think that's just unlikely. I don't know. That's something I don't entirely agree with him on. But one thing he does talk about is Anakin beginning. I do agree that this movie didn't do a great job of making it feel like Anakin should have resented the Jedi Order, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like how Belated Media talked about that they should have made it where him getting turned down for a position as a Jedi Master on the Council should have been utilized to make him feel like he's still a slave. I think that would have been a lot more meaningful. It would have made more sense from him. I also think the idea of
they tried doing a little bit.
I think this might be one way in which having. How about now?
Oh, I heard you the entire time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
But then also,
I was just saying that I think they did try that. It was just they just had like a focus in the wrong place, just like Episode 1 did. It had focus in the wrong place. It focused too much on Qui-Gon and not enough on Obi-Wan. This movie focuses too much on Padme and that relationship, and not enough on Anakin's relationship with the Jedi Order. Because something I wanted to bring up is when the dual plot line happens for the second act.
Yeah.
It works so much better than it did in Attack of the Clones, because what's happening with Anakin is the A plot, even though it feels like a B plot.
Go again. Okay.
Are we back now?
Yep,
I think so.
Alright. I think I might chop this up a little. I think I might
you're gonna have to edit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna
sorry about that.
I'll have time, since it's a Wednesday podcast and I won't have another video to work on until Monday. All right.
Okay, so you were talking about the A plot and the B plot and how it works better in this film than it did in Episode 2.
Because Anakin is the A plot, because that's what leads into Episode 4, even though it feels like a B plot, whatever. But Obi-Wan being away on his own mission is very, very critical to Anakin's plotline, because Obi-Wan is not there.
Yeah.
And Palpatine purposely split them up, which is hinted at in the first act, right after the Battle of Count Dooku, when Palpatine tries splitting them up there. He tried to leave Obi-Wan, even though we'll never make it, even though the ship's not crashing yet. That doesn't happen until later, but Palpatine does everything he can to keep Obi-Wan and Anakin separated in this movie, because it makes his job easier, because he's already selected Anakin to be his next apprentice.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, jeez.
This is getting quite frustrating.
It really is. Alright, now are we back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus. Alright, I finished my thought.
But he tried to separate
it makes Palpatine's job easier.
I agree with that, but I think the novelization kind of explains that better and stuff like that, because it does talk about how, I don't know, it talks about like the perfect Jedi trap, and the reason that it works is because you're not actually trying to get this particular Jedi, you're trying to get this Jedi away from where he should be, so that you can trap him. So, but yeah, I do agree that this does work a little better, because it does help the Emperor's plan to have Obi-Wan away from Anakin, so that he's not there to be that good influence on Anakin. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, but see, so I agree with that, but the problem is, because all they did was separate them, when they meet back up and all of a sudden they don't like each other and Obi-Wan is like fully committed to killing Anakin, even though in the very previous scene with Yoda, he's like, I can't kill him.
I don't think he ever was. I don't think he was ever fully committed to killing Anakin.
Maybe not, yeah.
But it's not portrayed that way in the film. It's not portrayed that way in that scene. He doesn't, like, here's the thing. He's not trying to stop Anakin from being a Sith. He's not trying to bring him back. You think of how long they've been together, how long they've been friends, how long they've been together, and how the fact that as much as Anakin, like, does listen to Palpatine, Anakin didn't hesitate for a second when Palpatine says leave him. He's like, fuck no, no. We live together, we die together. That is not even it.
Yeah, his fate will be the same as ours.
His fate will be the same as ours. That is not even an option, okay? And then in the previous scene that they saw each other, they were like, yeah, we're cool, man. I appreciate you. I believe in you. Yeah, thanks, man. Like, and then they go to, I hate you. Like, and then Obi-Wan's not even trying to calm Anakin down, to bring him back, to stop him from doing what he's doing. He doesn't even try.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, like, and that's the thing, like, that makes no sense. That is terrible writing. That's goddamn awful directing. Like, you would have, if it was the way you would think about it, even in this film, even without having watched the Clone Wars TV show, my mind was like, why is he not the whole time they're fighting saying, dude, stop, please, seriously, I beg you, anything. Like, I would have imagined the real Obi-Wan would have done what Obi-Wan did in episode 4, where he's just like, you know what? I'm not even going to fucking fight you. Kill me. That is what Obi-Wan does. And the problem is he does it because that's literally something Obi-Wan did. That's literally what happened. Right? Yeah. And it's not what happens in this film. And
I think it would have been better if that final fight scene would have been all Anakin on the attack and just Obi-Wan on the defense, deflecting his blows or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's not or how about this? How about they don't even actually fucking fight each other? Because there's always still the thing is that, like, how do they go from 0 to 100 like that? Because it's portrayed. Like, Palpatine,
you're cutting out there.
Talking about... Am I back now?
Yep.
In the previous scenes, Palpatine is convincing him with Padme, with saving her. That is the crux of what gets Anakin, not anything about Obi-Wan. That's why when I watched who did I watch? Like, was it Red Letter Media or the other one, some other media thing, where they're like, you know what should have happened is they need to have created more distrust between Obi-Wan and Anakin. That would have been way better. That's why it would have been better if Obi-Wan found Anakin himself when in episode 1 and Anakin was already much older, so they could start establishing that relationship from the very beginning, so that way it could really start breaking down in episode 3. Instead, what they did was there's no relationship in episode 1. They tell us there's a good relationship in episode 2, but they don't portray it well at all. And then they spend a good amount of episode 3 showing how great their relationship is, and then all of a sudden it goes to shit at the very end, and that doesn't make any sense. Another big, huge complaint is, why does Anakin talk about my new empire when, sure, he talks about him being powerful, but he's never ever portrayed as wanting to have that kind of power. And
I think he might have been trying to appeal to Obi-Wan.
A Sith is to save Padme. Why is he talking about power again? Again, none of this makes any sense whatsoever. And that's why, to me, this is the most annoying movie of the 3. Because, that's all stupid. That's all so stupid. At least with episode 2, it's like, it's all dumb, but it doesn't matter. Here is where it matters the most. And all of the reasoning for these things happening are just idiotic. Also, the Jedi are just fucking retards throughout the entire prequels, and it's so dumb. Like, here's the biggest problem. Anakin and Padme's love story is one of the worst love stories ever in episode 2. Right? And yet, the Jedi are so dumb, and the logic makes so little sense, as I just pointed out, that the only thing I'm actually mad about Anakin over is him killing Padme and being a douche to Padme at the end of the film. I don't even care about anything else. It's like, dude, she really loves you, man. Like, that's bad. That's bad that shitty love story is what I feel worse about than anything else that happens, because the rest of it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking done with this movie.
Yeah, and that is where I think, I don't know, I do think they should have focused more on, like I said, Anakin feeling like he's a slave to the Jedi Order, and more on his frustration with them. Like, this might be one area where that his mother dying and him blaming, like, Obi-Wan and the Jedi Order in general for that might have worked better if it was, and feeling like he's being held back and like he's being restricted and stuff like that. I think that might be better if it's like possibly if it's, the Emperor saying, like agreeing with him, like, your mother died because Obi-Wan and the Jedi Order held you back, and Padme is going to die too because they're holding you back. Like, if they made it more about...
I think that was the intention.
I think, like, I agree. It probably was, but I feel like it doesn't land as well as it could have. If it,
what would have been better
if it was more about, like, this is like, I don't know, this is power that you can have. And again, he does kind of do that, but I feel like more emphasis on, remember what happened to your wife, or not to your wife, to your mother and stuff like that. It's because they held you back. And also making it about Obi-Wan specifically probably would have made at least Anakin's side of things make a little more sense, I guess. But
yeah, I think the problem I had is like, you know, what would have been better is if Padme saving the whole premonition. Well, okay, you know what they should have gotten rid of? If there's two things they could have gotten rid of in episodes 2 and 3, it's the mom dying thing and the Padme dream thing. Because if you get rid of those things, that gets her two of the biggest problems with this film series. Because in episode 2, I talked about it already. What was the biggest thing? The scene where his mom dies and he goes and kills the fucking sand people.
Yeah.
You know, at that moment he's already a bad guy. There's no tension whatsoever anymore after that point.
Yeah.
That's the point I made last, and I still stand by that. There is no tension whatsoever after that. In fact, if anything, they kind of bring some of the tension back in this one, but it's already ruined by that point, right? Yeah. So if you get rid of that, great. Then you get rid of the Padme dream, because you would get rid of the Padme dream, because the Padme dream only makes sense in context with the mom thing. Then Padme has nothing to do with him turning to the dark side. Then it's entirely about the Jedi mistreating him, because in fairness, they are being really catastrophically stupid in how they treat him. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll make you a Jedi Knight. Yeah, we'll put you on the council. But we don't really trust you. But what really they should be doing is, what's the whole thing? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Yeah, make him a master. Put him on the council. Go to all the things with him. That's a better way to keep an eye on him. But yet, Anakin doesn't turn specifically because of that. He turns because he wants to save Padme. It doesn't line up. Why can't just make us hate the Jedi more? Make us not care as much about the Jedi. Like, make us almost root for Anakin to destroy the Jedi or something like that, or at least make that be the reason why. At least make the Jedi the entire reason, because that's what it was supposed to be. When in this Clone Wars TV show, which again, done way better than these films are. That is what they do. They plant all these little seeds of Anakin being basically a very good person, having his morality not based on being good or bad. It's based on loyalty and friendship. That really is a big point that they don't even touch on really in the films. That is a huge bonus to the TV show. And the other thing is they give you little hints of, you know what, maybe the Jedi aren't actually doing the right thing. Like in the movie, Padme says, do you ever think that maybe, Padme says, do you ever think that maybe we're not on the right side?
Yeah.
But where does that come from?
Well, she's talking about about Palpatine and stuff like that in Corruption.
Yeah, but like it makes in the TV show, it makes great sense because they go into detail about the Separatists and how about the Separatists they actually have some good points. They have the Pacifist Alliance or whatever you call it with Duchess Satine. So you have so many reasons to be like, yeah, you know, it's not that the Jedi are stupid. It's that they're overconfident and they're blinded by actually their power, even though they're not trying to be bad guys. Whereas in this, they're just dumb. They're just dumb for like treating Anakin poorly, but not on purpose. They don't really mean to. They're just dumb. So it doesn't have the impact
it's not that they're
it's
dumb,
supposed to have.
It's that they're stubborn. And like all that stuff, like what you said about the Jedi, that was intentional, and that's in a lot of the backdrop, going all the way back to like Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
going back to Qui-Gon, and his kind of refusal.
Yeah,
to
when they
listen
refused to train,
and Qui-Gon's refusal to listen to the Council, and it has a lot to do with like that was supposed to be set up for the Jedi Council being not bad, but kind of not helping the way they should be.
Yeah.
Kind of just maintaining the status quo, which is not enough when you're in the middle of a civil freaking war.
Yeah. And I think I'm actually going to disagree with you, dude, on that. I do agree that Anakin going and slaughtering an entire village of people did pretty much take away all the suspense of him possibly turning to the dark side, because I do agree, like at that point we all knew. But I think the idea of his mother dying and Padme and the idea of Padme being in danger and him fearing that, I think that does actually provide a little more opportunity for him to be seen as sympathetic if that's why he wants power. If that becomes kind of his reasoning for why he wants power. I guess what I'm thinking about writing right now is I've recently been rewatching Breaking Bad and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And how Walter White, he initially was doing what he did because he wanted to provide for his family, or at least that was the excuse he used. But later on, he admits that it was just his pride, and he wanted to do something because he felt like his and to be appreciated for something because he felt like his talents were going to waste and stuff like that. I feel like maybe that would. I feel like the addition of him doing it because he couldn't save his mother, he wasn't powerful enough to save his mother, and now he wants to be more powerful so he can save Padme. And then focusing more on the idea that kind of like what media talked about, that the Jedi are not helping him do that, and the Jedi are not providing the opportunity, and then not having him strangle Padme at the end because like that completely feels like, kind of like it contradicts
that's when
his action.
Kind of lost me.
Yeah, that's when they kind of contradict themselves. But the idea that he's looking for power because of Padme, but then it becomes this thing where he gets the power and then he wants more and stuff like that, and it kind of becomes like intoxicating and cancerous and stuff like that. I feel like that would add more. I don't know. I feel like that would work more. Like it would help to make him more sympathetic if he has goals that the Jedi, but emphasizing the Jedi are in your way. That helps him make more sense than why he would turn on them. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to agree to disagree because I see that they could have done a better.
We're in agreement that they should have focused more on his relationship with the Jedi.
Yes, definitely. I do agree with that. I just don't think. But I don't think they should have just thrown everything with Padme and Anakin's mother out the window. But yeah.
No, that should have been just a linchpin in his relationship with the Jedi, because maybe he like approaches Yoda, or for the purposes of this scene that I'm kind of constructing in my head, I would want it to be Mace Windu just because of what ends up happening to Mace Windu. Like he comes to Mace Windu, and Mace Windu's like, "So you had a psychic vision. So she's gonna die. You're a Jedi. You shouldn't care about stuff like that."
Yeah, and they kind of have
that's something that sets Anakin off against Mace Windu and makes it a little easier for him to
cut his arm off.
Yeah.
Do what he eventually does, and they kind of do have that with
because then
with his conversation with Yoda, but it's like, but it feels like a lot of it is out of order, stuff like that. That it's like, I don't know. It feels like a lot of the stuff that should be happening happens out of order, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. My reasoning would be that I feel like it should have been basically what should have. I think. I don't mind the whole thing about Padme because I understand that does make Anakin a little bit more sympathetic, but I guess the reason why I say get rid of that is so... And they could have done it better anyway, so I'm not saying like your idea wouldn't work. It's just that the reason why I like my idea is to get rid of that completely, and then it's entirely about the Jedi, because... It doesn't really make sense in terms of like how he acts at the end. He cares about Padme still, but then he doesn't. He's just talking about power and all that thing. That gets a little confusing to me. And then he seemingly completely forgets about her for the rest of his existence. And the other thing, but the bigger reason, is that I feel like if they get rid of that and just focus entirely on the Jedi part of it, I would have preferred personally, that's just my own idea, is that I would have preferred if it's more about if we had less reason to sympathize with the Jedi, actually. If we had more reasoning to think, yeah, the Jedi actually kind of suck. That's what I kind of would have preferred personally. Clearly, that was not George Lucas's intention, but interestingly enough, that's something that Dave Filoni has worked very a lot on in both Rebels and in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and it's very much seems to be something that the new trilogy is working toward as well. That hey, you know what? Maybe the Jedi actually weren't so great. That seems to be a big theme.
That maybe this ebb and flow is kind of just a constant self-destructive teeter-totter and stuff like that. Yeah.
So that's sort of the thing. Like the Sith probably wouldn't exist without the Jedi, kind of thing. And so I would get rid of the Padme part of it, not because it couldn't work, but because I like the route that specifically Filoni's been going down a lot in the Clone Wars TV show, which he definitely touches on the Jedi not doing the right things, and even more so in Rebels with what they're doing with those Jedi and with Ahsoka there, that maybe the Jedi just aren't so great. Actually, you don't really need Jedi. That's a bigger thing. And so I feel like, and it's, like I said, definitely seems to be hinted at in the 8th movie. So that's why I would have preferred that. So to focus more on that, just give entire focus and screen time and plot development to that. That's why. But I'm not saying that couldn't have worked. The Padme stuff couldn't have worked.
So,
but I just think that would have been more interesting.
The Padme stuff was necessary. The dark side, as Anakin goes to it, is a pathway to power he wants, but the Jedi won't give him. Either they can't or they won't. In Anakin's mind, it's they won't give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Padme's the purpose of the whole Padme vision thing is that it's kind of the catalyst for Anakin wanting that more power, that power that the Jedi just can't provide for him, which is exactly
putting a face on the power that he wants.
Which is exactly what Palpatine says to him in the other best scene in this movie, the Opera House scene.
Yeah. Not from a Jedi.
That whole thing is just brilliant. It adds a level of world building that wasn't in Star Wars before, and it's also just a really cool story.
Yeah. And it kind of makes the midi-chlorians feel cool.
and Palpatine
for like half a second.
Palpatine lying through his teeth, like, you ever heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought the Jedi would have told you. It's not a story that the Jedi like to tell. The Jedi don't know. The Jedi don't know. Palpatine's lying. Palpatine's
the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
In order to make it look like the Jedi know this really powerful story about this guy who can save people from dying, and they're not telling them on purpose. It's not that they're not telling them on purpose. They straight up don't know who Darth Plagueis is, because Darth Plagueis is recent.
Yeah, and I love how much he enjoys telling that story too. How he's like, ironic. He could save others from dying, but not himself. He just has that grin of just like, I killed that I killed that bastard. That bastard who thought he was so powerful. He's just got that smirk on his face of just like, that was my master and I killed him. He's just like, oh man. Yeah. Again, if we haven't said it enough already, Ian McDiarmid is amazing.
He is. Yeah. He really is. Him and Ewan McGregor, like, again, are just the only guys saving these movies.
Yeah.
So almost 13 years later, I still don't know how to feel about the implication that Palpatine created Anakin.
Oh yeah, that Palpatine or Plagueis created Anakin.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that? Has that been confirmed, or
I don't think it's ever been confirmed.
Or is it just like a theory?
Back in episode 1, Shmi said that there was no father.
There was no father.
Anakin was basically just a Jesus baby, and then Palpatine goes all like, "You could even influence the midi-chlorians to create life." Like,
the idea that maybe Anakin was created by Plagueis or something like that, or
even Palpatine, which would add a father dynamic, which would actually be really, really interesting if they chose to explore that.
Yeah. See, my thoughts on it is if they had chosen to explore that, a lot of people have been like, "That's nutso," but it's interesting. And
And
since
it's better than him just being a Jesus baby.
yeah, it's better. Exactly.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is. I feel like it's dumb. The theory is dumb just
Yeah.
because they don't explore it. So if they'd explored it, I would have been like,
yeah,
that could have been really interesting. Maybe another missed opportunity of some
yeah,
sort.
and that is kind of one of those loose ends that we talked about that George Lucas kind of fails to wrap up in a way because it's like we wonder, was he actually like I don't know. And the whole prophecy about the chosen one is kind of has its good moments, kind of has its bad moments. I don't know.
Okay, so Movie Bob has a video about how the prequels are actually like one of the best examples of the whole chosen one trope being done in a clever and interesting way because it's the Jedi who are adhering so staunchly to this prophecy they're basically doing what Team Ranger is doing right now and just sitting there waiting for the plot to save them, waiting for the plot to happen. The Jedi are literally just sitting there, maintaining the status quo, waiting for the savior.
So it's kind of a subversion of the chosen one plot.
Yeah, and because they're so like staunch and like set in their ways,
and it jumps up to bite them on the ass.
Ends up going to the dark side and kills them all.
Yeah,
that is interesting. I do.
But in the end, does actually fulfill the prophecy because you know what?
That is interesting.
Yeah,
but it does feel like just one of those things that I don't know. Like
by episode 4, 2 Jedi, 2 Sith seems pretty balanced to me.
Yeah, it does feel. Yeah, and it does feel like something that could have been explored more. Like we said that, like if the Emperor, if he was created by the Emperor and stuff like that would add something to it. It just feels like a loose end that they just left dangling there and stuff like that. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a lot of this movie feels rushed, even though I know it wasn't rushed. It had the same amount of time and effort put into it as any other Star Wars movie.
Well, I mean, they did put a deadline on it and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, they always have deadlines. The only one that didn't was Phantom Menace.
I don't know. I don't know. To me, parts of it feel.
But I think it's because they just wanted to wrap it up. George Lucas kind of wanted to be done with Star Wars.
Yeah,
he was really looking forward to the end. That he just sped his way through it and didn't put in all the details he should have.
Yeah, I'll agree with that one. But I do. I don't even know where we're at now, but
I mean, we basically
kind of summarizing
most of the plot.
I don't know. The details of like the shooting and everything, like it's all good. It doesn't really matter though because the plot is the frustrating part of this. That is what needed to be fixed. That is what they. I
do want to.
That's what we're talking
address the technical side of this for a beat because prequels get a lot of flack for their overuse of green screen, and honestly,
this was one where I feel like that the most. Honestly,
I never felt that way with this movie until after I watched Unusual Suspects video on this movie, where he this movie uses way more models and miniatures and actual matte paintings and costumes and makeup than any other Star Wars movie, any other like 2 Star Wars movies combined. But all the sets are green screen. Episode 1, we had Tatooine. We were really on Tatooine. We were really on the Naboo fields. Episode 2, we were really on Naboo. We were really on Tatooine. We were really on Geonosis for some parts. Episode 3, nothing. Coruscant was on a soundstage with green screen. Mustafar was just a massive green screen. Utapau was green screen. I don't think there... Other than, like, the Senate office, the Palpatine's office, I don't think there was an actual handcrafted, like, set. It was all just miniatures and models and stuff. Like, they had the really awesome, like, planned out model of Mustafar that was, like, 2 scale, had, like, all the details and stuff in it, and it even had, like, little checkpoints of, like, where the action would take place. Brilliant piece of filmmaking art right there.
That's fair, I guess.
Almost on par with the original Death Star from A New Hope. The like trench that they made or whatever. But everything else being like, but that's just a miniature that they use for all the wide shots. It's not an actual set, which I wouldn't want filming in a volcano. I'm just using that as an example because I've seen the most of our model that they had, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. I mean, this one I've probably watched this was probably the first movie that I actually bought and watched all the special features. There are several. There's like 8 hours.
For me, it was
worth,
Lord of the Rings.
There's like 8 hours worth of behind the scenes stuff on this DVD, and it is all worth it. They have like this hour and a half long documentary called Within a Minute, which is just every little thing that went in to the Mustafar fight scene. That minute long sequence at the beginning of the Mustafar fight scene before it gets to Yoda and the Emperor, and it's really detailed. It does everything from George Lucas writing the scripts to the final renders to the freaking catering. Like that's how detailed this documentary goes into, and I recommend watching that documentary for anyone who wants to get into filmmaking, especially in today's context, because they talk a lot about how CGI works and all the multifarious layers that they use CGI, and there's also parts that they talk. There's also parts elsewhere on the DVD where they talk about the practical effects and all the miniatures and stuff that they made. And again, like, this and the other prequels as well, the Star Wars in general as well. I always watch the behind the scenes stuff for movies like Star Wars, and I always, anytime I get a movie on DVD, I always make it a point to listen to the director commentary now, because it adds a lot of insight into the whys of why things happen in the movie the way they do.
Yeah.
Which is how I know that George Lucas meant for the Jedi to not be seen in the best light in this film.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, I don't know.
Can I point out another little weird thing that I realized that they really fucked up in these films?
Go for it.
Just a little tiny thing that's like, how did you fuck this up? It's like when I point out that Miles and Carrie wrote a line and then reuse it. That is incorrect grammar. That uses it's not correctly pronounced. The Sith thing, right? So in the film, in episode 1, I think it is, they say, always two there are, a master and an apprentice.
2 there should be, no more, no less.
No more, no less, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't established until Darth Bane, right? As we know, right?
Yep.
Then they also say, but the Sith have been extinct for over a millennia, right?
That's when Darth Bane died.
That's when Darth Bane, but that's also when Darth Bane started the rule of two.
Mm.
They would have known about that.
In the expanded universe, just throwing that out there.
But that's dumb.
Darth Bane was not the first one to establish the rule of two. He re-established it. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Re-established. But then they would have said always two because there was the Sith. I'm just saying that doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, they find out about Darth Bane surviving the Battle of Ruusan and trying to rebuild the Sith from there, and then allegedly execute him, but it was actually a doppelganger, and Darth Bane lived on. And the Darth Bane books are really, really good, guys. I highly
I've heard
recommend
that.
them.
Yeah, but yeah,
Poor Tom.
I don't know. But yeah,
I think that was his name. I think his name was just Tom. Like, that was the guy that Darth Bane made the Jedi think was him.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. I guess I do have some little.
His name is Tom, and now I can't stop laughing at the fact that there's a guy in the Star Wars universe just called Tom. I might even be wrong on that, but I don't care. He is now Tom.
Yeah,
just like little pilot boy.
Yeah, but there are some things I don't know. I guess there are just some logistics that I wonder about, like when Mace Windu fights Palpatine. First of all, that fight was kind of weird. If I understand correctly, it was because Samuel L. Jackson and McDermott both insisted on doing their own stunts, and it was kind of
Jackson did well.
But
they had to hide. I think it was because they wanted to do a lot of close-ups, and CGI was not there. CGI still isn't there in some ways.
Yeah.
They wanted to do a lot of close-ups, and they couldn't use stunt doubles for that, so they had to do a lot of it themselves. And then for the wide shots, they would use stunt doubles.
Okay.
At least for Ian McDiarmid. The awkward thing for me was always leading up to from the time that Palpatine whips out his lightsaber, which he apparently has, and sorry, I'm just really adamant. I'm just really adamant that neither Yoda nor the Emperor should have had lightsabers. I think that should. I think in this movie especially, it would have been a really great dichotomy. Like, you got Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting exclusively with lightsabers, and then you got Yoda and the Emperor fighting with just nebulous force magic.
That was the best part of their fight.
So might have just created the greatest prog metal band name of all time. Nebulous Force Magic.
Yeah. But I do wonder about that fight. Why? I don't know. Are we supposed to assume that Palpatine let Mace Windu beat him? Because
I don't even know.
Then he goes and takes on Yoda, and then he goes and matches Yoda. Also, just the way that he beat the way that he killed the other three Jedi was really weak, and
okay, so
I don't know. These are supposed to be masters, and he kills them really quickly. I like what the novelization did with it better. That it's like he's too fast for them to.
Yeah, it was going by Dragon Ball Z logic.
That he was too fast for them to see, and I don't know. That's that's one thing I do occasionally like about anime and stuff like when the characters that fast. Like, it makes sense. Because in this, it feels really
live action.
Yeah, it does not translate well to live action. It did not translate well to live action here. It was all like, come on, guys, you couldn't have catched that. You couldn't have left.
These are supposed to be the other masters.
Yeah, he kills the other three masters in minutes, and then Mace Windu is somehow able to hold out and in seconds, and then Mace Windu is somehow able to hold out longer and apparently beat him. Maybe he was just trying to, get Anakin to help him.
The fact that we're questioning this actually makes Palpatine a better character.
Maybe maybe that is the point that we're supposed to question him.
It still looks stupid in the movie where he just kills those three guys. It's dumb as fuck. That looks terrible. I hate it.
Yeah, it did feel. I don't know. It did feel kind of weird and stuff like that, and I do kind of, I don't know. Although I do like that power.
It feels bad after watching Clone Wars and you know who those guys are, and you've seen them annihilate armies.
Especially that doesn't make any sense.
You know that kid. Yeah, you know.
Kid Fisto fucking badass.
In action, he takes on Grievous and stuff like that. Yeah, it is kind of a bummer.
He beats Grievous's ass, though.
And actually, I did. I don't know. Part of the reason that I'm okay with. I mean, if we're talking about the Clone Wars, maybe part of the reason I'm okay with seeing Sidious use a lightsaber is just because of his fight with Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, because that was a good fight. But I do think that
scene was super dope, where he uses two lightsabers.
Yeah, the best part of that scene was when he did the backflip and did the
Oh yeah! Oh, it's so dope! Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, but I did think
for that.
But I did think that. So I don't know. That scene was weird, and and then Anakin takes out Mace Windu, and he kind of went out like a wimp and stuff like that. Cuts off his arm, and then just gets. I don't know. Although I do enjoy power.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, unlimited power. That was good.
I really do hate that they do the stereotypical thing where Mace Windu does I'm gonna pull back and I'm gonna kill you.
That is true. That was so.
Oh my god!
Telegraph much?
And the dumb thing is, like, at least when they had Grievous do it, you could tell that Grievous was doing it very quickly and was about to come down, and actually made sense, and Obi-Wan just shot him sooner. I had no problem with that scene. That scene actually, because he literally just went up enough just to kill him, and it was not like he was like, huh? He literally just went, and he was about to do that, and then Obi-Wan shot him. But with Windu, it's like, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Oh God, just no.
Yeah. And I will say this. So with the Order 66 and the way that went down, like,
I like it.
I
thought. Like I appreciate the emotional impact that they were kind of going for. Like I
love Yoda's reaction because like
Yoda's
basically his children dying, and he's just like.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I appreciate the emotion there that Yoda's feeling and stuff like that. While his friends and these people that he's known for years, many of them probably, most of them, all of them, since they were children, are dying and stuff like that. But I don't know. There's that part of me that's kind of like, why is Yoda the only one sensing all this? Like, why is
exactly?
This feels like a terrible thing that. Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe it's. I don't know. Like I get. Like I kind of get that, but I feel like maybe it should have been more. I don't know. Maybe could have made it feel less like a bunch of sneak attacks that they had no idea were coming, and made it feel more like them fighting. But I do enjoy that shot and the music when Anakin and the clones are in the temple. That shot is really awesome, and I like the. Whatever I think it's like March of the Republic.
Yeah, the Proto Imperial March. The Imperial
March. That sounds about right. Yeah, that dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Like my problem is like, again, it just makes the Jedi feel and look stupid, and they're not supposed to be stupid. That's the thing. Like, okay, Yoda notices it. Why does nobody else sense any of this? You know, it's the same thing. It's like, why did they not suspect Palpatine sooner? All of these things, like, they could have done something.
I addressed that last podcast with they're using clones of a bounty hunter they know is working for Count Dooku.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I'm okay with the idea of like the clones being able to kill the Jedi because they're clones of Jango Fett, who has killed Jedi and stuff like that, even though he went out like a total wuss in episode 2. Yeah, so like I kind of
so few.
So I kind of get that.
Have like been able to even draw their lightsabers.
Like, I guess
other than a few like special cases, the order went out pretty much simultaneously to most platoons.
Yeah. I guess that is true, and maybe like it was too quick, and I guess it's also one of those things where I don't know, with the clones being what they are, you know, barely sentient and stuff like that, and the fact that like they were just following orders. And I guess this is something that the novels do a good job of, but I guess we can also like kind of draw conclusions to that. Like, the clones aren't doing this out of spite. They aren't doing this because of any kind of darkness. They're just following orders. They're just doing what their
they're programmed to do, basically.
Yeah, they're just doing what the chips in their heads tell them to do. So there's no dark intentions here. It's just following orders. So I guess maybe that's part of why they don't sense anything, but I don't know. It just felt. It seems like they went down, like a lot of them went down a little too easy, I guess. So I have mixed feelings on it, I guess.
I love the planets that we see. I love Felucia. We only see it for like a few seconds.
And Utapau I love Utapau as well.
Yeah, I love that Utapau has this like actually like fascinating geographical culture that because we spend so little time there, and because of what we're spending time there for, it never gets addressed, but it gets addressed in the novelization and in the visual dictionary. But like the entire planet's a barren wasteland, and it's just covered in these pits that lead down to the only water holes, and so the entire civilization is built around these pits. And
Yeah.
I love that stuff. It's very
But
very Gurren Lagann before Gurren Lagann.
it does a good job of setting the tone for like the Clone Wars TV show, where they explore a lot of other pretty interesting planets as well.
Yeah, and Felucia
Yeah.
is just the most alien-looking planet in the entire franchise.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. No, it's definitely one thing the prequels do well, and it's something that this film in particular did the best, is that the world, like, it feels like a universe. It feels like a galaxy. It feels like a real place. And that does help the films suck slightly less. And it does elevate Star Wars as a whole, at least. Those are some of the things that do elevate the entire franchise. Because when you go back when you go back and watch the first 3 Star Wars films, I always have the entire Star Wars galaxy and the Star Wars, in my mind now. So I don't have to just think it's only these little shitty planets that they're in. And so the benefits of the fact that they shoot at real locations become even greater, because they feel like real places, but then you also have that feels like a bigger universe, which is really cool. So that is one of the best parts about, if actually it might be the best part about these films, to be honest.
I mean, there's plenty to love about the prequels. John Williams' score is brilliant here.
John Williams' scores are always fantastic. Honestly, the funny thing is, I started off this whole Star Wars series being like, fuck those guys that say the prequels don't exist. I'm becoming more and more sympathetic to them as this goes on, just because of how bad the storytelling is. Yeah. In these last, I don't necessarily completely agree with them. I understand they exist. My line of thinking is instead, hey Disney, like, just completely 86 them and redo them, but like pretend they never even existed and completely redo them.
And do them animated. You can even do them animated.
Yeah, don't even do them.
I might not object to that. Yeah.
Don't even do them slightly the way they were before. You can get rid of pod racing for all I care. That's how much I want you to redo this shit.
Yeah.
That's my line of thinking, is make them not canon. They are canon. Disney, please make them not. Make us
fix them.
Make us enjoy yours better. But I mean, first of all, they have to improve what they're doing with the current trilogy, because just redoing episode 4 is not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe get
there's a lot riding on Last Jedi.
There's a lot riding on.
Apparently, Rian Johnson's already approved for
that next trilogy. Yeah,
the next trilogy,
which has
it looks like it's gonna be good. Yeah,
which has me cautiously optimistic, because that must mean they think he knocked it out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
So hopefully he did a great job.
J.J. Abrams directing episode 9 was a patch job, because the director, whoever they had directing, I think it was Colin Trevorrow, who was kind of a terrible director anyway, was having disagreements with Disney.
I have no idea why they chose him. That pissed me off. Well, I'm actually glad they put what's his face back on, just because Trevorrow's track record is garbage.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
He at least makes entertaining films. We'll get into that when we do Force Awakens.
But there's a lot riding on 8, because if 8 is good and like actually its own movie, even if it like pays homage to 5, that's to Empire Strikes Back, that's okay. But if it's its own good movie, then even if 9 is terrible, we can still look forward to the trilogy after that.
Yeah.
Rian Johnson is probably the most talented director of a Star Wars film. Doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna, by default, make the best Star Wars film. Yeah. Best Star Wars film is probably already made. But that's why Rian Johnson has a better track record than George Lucas probably ever. Well,
yeah,
I won't say ever did, because George Lucas's first 3 films were just all.
That's why 8's so important, though, because 8. Because 8's amazing, even if 9's bad, we're still hyped for the next trilogy. That's why 8 is so damn important.
Yeah.
And we're gonna assume Luke's probably gonna die soon, so we want Luke to go out with a bang. I'm just assuming that.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I might cry, even if the movie.
I would really hope he doesn't. I hope he makes it through 9 to at least 9. But I'm just saying, it's really feeling like there's not going to be Luke anymore.
Yeah,
that's the problem with that's the problem with social media, is that
we
we're
got
gonna
to see it like at the premiere, otherwise we're gonna get spoiled.
Well, not just that, but like all these other like people keep dropping like information and hints and all this other crazy stuff. Like okay, for example, real quick tangent, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like the actors will say, like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be in the movie after this one too." It's like, but we didn't have to know that, so we didn't know if your character died or not.
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to know that? You didn't have to say that.
So, I mean, I guess they could always do like flashbacks. I mean, Han Solo is going to be in Episode 8.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
The fact that the Black Panther movie takes place after Infinity War.
Wait, does it?
I think so.
Oh god, that's
weird.
I hope not, but I that's what I heard.
Yeah.
It comes out. It comes out after Infinity War.
Comes up
part 1 or part 2.
It comes part before.
Comes out before Infinity.
It comes out.
Comes out before.
Yeah, it comes out
February.
after. Does it come out in February?
No, it comes out before. It comes out in February.
Yeah.
Infinity War comes out.
Okay.
So it better happen before. It better take place before.
Okay, yeah. I don't know who. Yeah, someone told me that today. I think.
Because that would be really bad.
It was someone on YouTube. It was someone talking about the trailer. On YouTube, because the Infinity War trailer dropped today.
Yep. That looks pretty good.
It's pretty good. I'm excited. As excited as I am for any Marvel movie, which is.
I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. So even if it's a crappy movie, as long as Chris Pratt is doing some Chris Pratt awesomeness, I am good to go.
I feel like I haven't geeked out over a Marvel trailer since Civil War.
Yeah.
And before that, it would be like Winter Soldier. I don't know. It's just I geek out over I geek out over Captain America. I don't geek out over any of the other Avengers or the Avengers ensemble movies.
Yeah. I still think the best actor in any of the Avengers movies so far, besides Chris Pratt, because I'm a huge Chris Pratt fanboy, is fucking Mark Ruffalo, dude. Mark Ruffalo is amazing.
Yeah.
Holy hell. And as good as RDJ does carry that
kind of play himself
in a lot of ways. He's just playing himself. He does a great job at it. I'm not complaining. I cannot wait for RDJ and Chris Pratt to be on screen together. That's
gonna be awesome.
That is like what everybody.
I'm more excited for him and Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, that too. Apparently, that's a thing. Yeah. But either way, like technically, like Mark Ruffalo's performances have been unbelievably good. It's a fucking crime that he hasn't had his own movie at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back to Star Wars.
We are all over the place here, aren't we?
Yeah.
As usual.
I also wonder about, so the Emperor comes out in front of the Senate and is like, I survived an attempt by the Jedi on my life. I don't know. Did nobody ask how he survived that? Like, have none of these senators ever heard of
He probably said that someone saved him. He probably that was probably
maybe he said that Anakin saved him, something like that, or
someone or a young Jedi by the name of Darth Vader.
Maybe, but but that's something I wonder about. Like, has nobody in this Senate ever heard of Sith? Do they not know? Like, did nobody if you said, oh yes, I was saved by a young Jedi named Vader, was nobody in the Senate like, isn't that the Sith word for the epitome of death? Or something like that? Like, did nobody, was nobody in the Senate like, okay, I'm not a Jedi or anything like that, but how did you beat them? Are you one of those Siths? I don't know,
Politicians are stupid. They don't have a galactic. Bail Organa is the closest thing they have to a Ron Paul.
I don't know. It just felt weird, and then it just feels that scene cut of the Emperor declaring the Republic and an empire and stuff like that. That felt. I don't know. That felt weird. It's like, so wait, that is true, but it was one of those things where, because it was Ian McDiarmid. But it was one of those things where it's kind of like, wait, so the Jedi went off the reservation, so now you have to keep this control that you've had. Which, by the way, I do
more focus on Anakin and the Jedi would have alleviated this problem. Maybe
I
not
guess
outright
that's fair.
fixed it, but it would have helped because maybe as Anakin grows to distrust the Jedi, maybe the Jedi were doing stuff that the Senate doesn't approve of either.
Yes.
And maybe
Maybe.
Palpatine only has to lie about some things, not the entire thing.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, so yeah, it felt.
Yeah, it would have helped.
Yeah,
if he
it
wasn't lying
felt
so much.
weird. Yeah,
would
it
have
felt
helped if he
weird.
wasn't lying that much.
Yeah, but I do appreciate, like, I don't know. This is something I kind of forgot to bring up for last episode. That I do kind of appreciate a little bit of the political game being played here. That, like, I don't know. It felt very Roman Empire-esque and stuff like that. That it's like, you have that they had a system in place where during a time of crisis, the Roman Republic would assign a I can't remember what the word for it was. I think it was dictate. I think it was straight up dictator or something like that, or maybe tribune. Anyway, they would sign up one specific person to have emergency powers until the crisis was abated and stuff like that. But then, and that worked until the day when Caesar decided, nope, not giving it up. And so that's kind of what happened, and that was like the fear behind the assassination of Julius Caesar and stuff like that. But yeah, that essentially, but that's essentially what the Emperor does. But yeah,
Emperor Palpatine is basically an allegory for Julius Caesar if he wasn't assassinated.
In a sense, yeah, or like
from a certain point of view.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do appreciate Alex Jones thing where he talks about that because I think he nailed it down pretty well. So even though
Alex Jones is currently talking about how he thinks the Las Vegas shooting was faked.
Dude, he said that they're putting chemicals in the water to make the frogs gay. I think he done checked out of reality some time ago.
Yeah. The one intelligent thing he did was figure out figure out the Star Wars prequel.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. It's very true. Like that video I watched is like, why is this the one thing he's right about?
Well, the thing you have to understand about Alex Jones is that so much of it, he's playing a character. He's not actually that crazy. I know we all want him to really be that crazy.
It's more fun if he is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that aspect of the politics is boring. The guy was
watch Alex Jones as a guilty pleasure. This was probably the equivalent of saying Santa's not real. But yeah, double toasted, who are brilliant film critics. They're the ones who got me into film criticism back when they were Spill.com. Yeah. They actually used to work for two of them actually used to work for Alex Jones back in the day, and they always give really good insight onto like what's real and what's just the insane character that he plays.
Yeah. They did. But so I do think that I don't know. As boring as the politics got in episode 2, like this aspect of the politics was at least interesting and in some ways clever. So yeah.
So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. Mob
that felt a little weird, but yeah.
I love that line.
I actually like that line. It's like one of the only George Lucas lines I like.
Yeah. And I do like, I don't know, the few moments that they do go into politics in this movie, and yes, Padme kind of questioning things and Anakin being all like, you're sounding like a separatist and stuff like that. It's like, oh, that's not the point here.
I mean, it's just it's just more what she was saying back in episode 2 when you started acting like you were gonna seize control, which I think again, like the fact that this entire movie is just tying up every single loose end. A lot of the stuff with the my new empire is supposed to be a callback to his conversation with Padme back on Naboo.
But it feels kind of out of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, it's talk about that there's someone who should make people do the right thing.
Yeah, it felt
forced.
Yeah, that felt so that was kind of wonky, but I do like I don't know. I appreciate the fact that Padme kind of says, this isn't exactly the Republic that like we believed in and stuff like that, and Anakin, Anakin, immediately goes on the defensive of you're sounding like a separatist. It's like, no, not everyone who, there's, I don't know, there's no there's more than just
because you disagree with Hillary
more
Clinton
than two
does not
sides
make you
to
a
this.
Nazi.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's more than two sides to this. There's more than two ways of thinking. There is, there are gray areas when it comes to, the ways things should be run and stuff like that. So I appreciated that. But yeah, I appreciated that aspect.
Just because you don't like conservatives does not mean you're a communist.
Yeah,
exactly. Go the reverse thing of because like on the right it's on the right side of the media, it's everyone I don't like is a communist, and on the left side, is everyone I don't like is a Nazi.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Anyway.
Stalin killed more people, that's all I'm going to say. No.
Registered independent for the win.
Missouri, you don't have to register with a political party. We swing too much.
I'm all over the place.
I think I have to at least. I don't know. I specifically chose to register as an independent anyway.
Yeah, it depends on the state. A lot of states that tend to vote a certain way, will have like the registered thing. But Missouri, predicting who we're gonna vote for is like predicting our weather. Next to impossible.
Well said.
I've been to Missouri for 2 weeks,
unless you're actually from Missouri and know people from all over Missouri, not just one part of Missouri. You have to we have so many different areas with so many different types of people.
I'll tell you this, media. I've been to Missouri for 2 weeks, and I'll tell you that's the craziest year of weather I've ever had.
It is. It really is.
It really was.
Yeah. Right-leaning independent. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly right. Yeah. Mostly independent, but I don't know. Anyway.
I think we're ready to at least talk about the climax of this movie.
Yeah, sure.
Where Obi-Wan and Yoda just found out that Anakin killed younglings and helped wipe out their entire order, and their reaction is very meh.
Yeah, it's super really? It's one of the many things where I don't understand how their interaction works when they meet up with each other. It's the only thing I could chalk it up to is how quickly they had to react to everything, but I don't know. It just in fairness, the one thing that doesn't bother me about this movie is the general chain of decisions that Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Bail Organa make as a result of what happens. It all actually, to me, in general, makes decent sense. The one thing is, I'm not sure. And this isn't a big complaint necessarily. I'm just not sure if it would have been better for Obi-Wan and Yoda to take on the Emperor together. That's just a theory, but I don't really hate that decision that they did that. So really, overall, that was actually done well. That really helped.
I think Yoda was putting responsibility on himself and Obi-Wan separately. Yeah, he was basically telling Obi-Wan, "You deal with your apprentice. You failed, and I failed because."
Yeah, you need to answer for your failures. I need to answer for mine. Yeah. Yeah. And also you would get wasted if you.
Yeah.
No, I can understand. It's not the worst. It's not the worst thing. It's so overall, the decisions all those three guys makes generally good sense, and I don't have a problem.
Obi-Wan goes straight to Padme and tells her what's up, and knows that she knows, and then follows her and stows away on her ship.
Yeah,
which
probably does not work out for her. Yeah,
no,
because Padme straight up did not know Obi-Wan was on her ship.
Yeah, no, she did not. It seemed like that was something that CinemaSins got wrong. Yeah, that he's using her. It's no, she did not know he was there. But anyway,
yeah, that's the kind of thing where it's it's one of those very frustrating things in the movie where it's like, well, okay, first of all, Padme, why don't you say, I didn't even know he was here? And why did Obi-Wan try to defend her by saying, yeah, no, she really didn't know I was here?
It's like,
why does nobody say that?
No, she did. Yeah, if he was like, she didn't betray you. I stowed away. Let her go, you jackass.
Why does nobody say those things? Like,
yeah,
there's no reason not to.
Well, I think the reason why is that Obi-Wan had no idea how far off the deep end Anakin had gone at that point.
Well, he was strangling his wife, so...
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
At least after he strangled her, he probably should have said so.
Probably.
He probably should have said, she didn't know, let her go. Yeah.
And that's the problem. Like I said, that's the problem. Like, that's why that fight scene kind of sucks, is because, like, you know, given their relationship, given all of that, it's like, even if they're fighting, like, Obi-Wan should be trying. Like, there should be... He doesn't, like, you know what I mean?
It should have been more obvious that he was looking to maim, not kill.
Yeah, and it wasn't. He should have been trying to help his friend still at that point.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. Like, even if he wasn't trying to kill him, he wasn't trying to help his friend at that point. I don't like that.
Yeah. And then, yeah, and also this fight was just way too much spectacle, and a lot of that spectacle did not make sense. Swinging on chains, balancing on pipes. Why?
Right.
Why would you even? So, yeah, it's like, yeah, there was, like, you're on a lava also, yeah, the fact that they should have ignited in flames long before Anakin, you know, fell in the dirt and stuff like that, because lava's, I don't know. Lava doesn't wait until your limbs have been cut off to set you on. Just saying.
Exactly.
Lava's hot no matter how many limbs you have.
Yeah.
So that was... So yeah, it's like...
Yeah,
it was supposed to be this... It was supposed to be this deeply emotional fight, but there was just too much spectacle for it to really be felt.
The spectacle should have been more on the Emperor Yoda side, because...
Yeah, and we were good with that.
Like, tearing up the... Literal, like, the visual metaphor that George Lucas put in here. Literally tearing apart the Senate chambers. Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. Yeah, the Emperor throwing stuff at Yoda and Yoda, trying to throw it back. I enjoyed that, although I think they could have had a more clear winner. Like they kind of did, Yoda. It's kind of hard for us to understand why exactly he ran, because I think Yoda was like done
because it kind of
got hurt.
Yeah,
well, yeah, it's like he got hurt and stuff like that, and it was like, and again in the novelization, he has that realization of, I can't win this. He's too powerful. I've lost. But
the problem is I didn't really get that vibe from the fight. Like it was pretty even until Yoda fell.
That's why, like this,
which is almost more luck that where Yoda was blasted was off, whereas where Palpatine was blasted was just kind of back into the so it doesn't feel like Palpatine really fought better. Yeah, he wasn't really overpowering him. It felt fairly even the whole time. Yeah, I think that's kind of
felt like he got easy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of not a good thing.
I think this fight was too short, and the Obi-Wan Anakin fight was too long.
Yeah.
I felt like it should have been a bit more even on time, because the Obi-Wan Anakin stuff is like 3 times longer than the Yoda Emperor stuff, and it should have been even.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan Anakin fight should have been more substance, less style, and Yoda and the Emperor, honestly, like, the substance is already there. Just give us all the style you want with that one, I say.
Best 2 seconds of the movie. with the red guards, just Yoda's not having any of that.
Yeah. Although they were blue
the dialogue between
Yoda
and
in my opinion, the best 2 seconds of the movie are, I am the Senate. That's the best 2 seconds of the film.
It's treason, then.
We
all know it's actually power.
Yeah.
Power!
Best 2 seconds of this movie. It has something to do with Emperor Palpatine.
It has something to do with
it. Yeah.
No matter what it is.
Yeah. Agreed.
But from a Jedi.
Yeah. But I will say this. I did I don't know. The part where I really felt the emotion and where Ewan, I don't know, where I might argue that actually maybe Ewan McGregor had one of the best performances in this is after he hacks off Anakin's limbs, which I don't know. I have the high ground. So did Darth Maul, but
yeah, exactly.
I love everyone has to point that out because it's true. But
yeah,
but Obi-Wan.
That's not Ewan. That's not Ewan's fault. That's Lucas's fault. Let's place the blame where it deserves to be.
Yeah. But Ewan's "You Were the Chosen One" speech, like I thought that was a really great scene, and Ewan McGregor did a really good job. That's like that moment of just heartbreak of you had so much potential. This isn't how it was supposed to be. This isn't where Qui-Gon saw this going. You've let me down, and then in that line of you were my brother. I loved you. Just that. I don't know. That was a very heartbreaking scene that I thought was, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
like despite how
that's the other best acted overall scene of the prequel.
Yeah,
trilogy.
That was a good moment, and that was a great. Yeah, that was a nice little.
My problem with that
kind of wrapping it up for Ewan McGregor, but yeah,
is where was that at the beginning of the fight or before the fight?
Yeah, that kind of emotion would have been really good before and during the fight of just that moment.
Not Ewan's fault because there's nothing for him to directing him to do that. Like, where was Lucas realizing that like it doesn't have the same impact at the end that it would have if it was earlier too?
Yeah.
But it's a well-acted scene. Like
Luke and Vader do all their proselytizing before the fight starts. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, like yeah. So I mean,
yeah. Also, I don't know. I feel weird with that line from Obi-Wan when he says, kind of backtracking here, but when Obi-Wan says, "Only a Sith deals in absolutes." Isn't that that line right there was an
yeah.
What the hell, Obi-Wan? Yeah, so are you a Sith now? So that was, I don't know. That was just, that's just a little nitpicky thing, but yeah, that moment from Ewan McGregor of almost that just final moment of just grief for what has happened to Anakin, just kind of that that moment of acceptance, I thought was really nice. And yeah, it would have been nice if we'd gotten more of that throughout.
Bring himself to put Anakin out of his misery. He just leaves him there to die.
Yeah.
Takes his lightsaber and runs.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I'm gonna give this to your son.
Which I know about.
And then some random chick's gonna find it and give it to another random Force user chick.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I hope Rey isn't a Skywalker. Yeah, I've heard people theorizing about that. Please no. Anyway,
I would be fine with that. I would be fine with her being a Kenobi. That would be cool.
If anything, I'd prefer being a Kenobi. Can I just say that? I'd much prefer her being a Kenobi.
Yeah, Kenobi maybe, but yeah, it's like let's get away from the Skywalker family.
Does everybody have to be a fucking Skywalker?
Yeah, yeah. Does it have to just be this family? Do we have to do the whole? Yeah. Do we have? I don't know. Because also that would just feel too.
Can't we have a
ground runner? You already copied episode 4. You don't need to copy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't copy everything, please. Please and thank you.
Yeah.
To quote the great Ron Swanson, please and thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This leads to another really interesting scene until the very end, which is the medical bays. The kind of parallel with you got Polis Massa and you got the freaking Sith torture chamber, freaking medical facility.
Yeah, what planet was that on? Was that on Camino? Where was that?
No, that was Coruscant. Polis Massa. Yeah, Darth Vader was on Coruscant.
Yeah, no, I know where Polis Massa is.
Yeah, and Polis Massa is an asteroid belt that was just nearby Mustafar.
Yeah, I know. I've played Star Wars Battlefront too.
I hate playing that level. It turns into such a freaking cluster.
It does. Well, all you do is just
all you need to do is throw a grenade and you blow up half the.
Yeah, if you get the advanced rifle, that like triple shot rifle thing, all you do is you stand in like the doorway where it's like the long corridor and you just shoot down, then you win. It's real easy actually.
Yeah. Anyway, But yeah, we have the
the birth of Darth Vader as we know him, and the birth of Luke and Leia.
And Leia. Yeah.
And then
And-
Padme loses the will to live for some reason.
I like the robot chicken. There's a robot chicken show where it's like Dr. Ball, whatever. It's just like, oh, she's lost the will to live. Well, then let's just on our knees and pray. What the heck is this? This isn't medical science. What are you talking about? Who cares if she's lost the will to live? Resuscitate her. But yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Died of a broken heart.
Yeah, broken the heart my ass. Yeah. It's like, yeah. Yeah, that was.
It's a fascinating parallel that Vader is
Yeah,
in like
it is
this
an
agony thing as he's being turned into the mechanized warrior that he becomes, and meanwhile Padme's much more serene as she's giving birth to the savior of the universe.
Yeah, the two future saviors. And this is where I. What?
I said One Punch Man?
No, Mr. Satan.
I was thinking Naruto, but okay.
I was gonna say Naruto too, but I just wanted to say
Potter?
One Punch Man. Neville Longbottom? You mean Hermione Granger?
Lush. Actually, Flash Gordon would actually be pretty close to Luke Skywalker as far as
Pretty much, yeah.
That's basically who Luke
Concept-wise?
Skywalker was based off of. Was Flash Gordon?
Yeah.
Ruby Rose?
She can't even freaking leave an apartment right now. How's she gonna save the universe?
Yeah. So not Ozpin?
Basic. Let's face it, Ozpin was the freaking Yoda in this.
Kind of, yeah. Yoda was a little
Except
too
worse.
inactive here.
No.
But
Yeah,
but
but
worse,
Ozpin's way
worse.
worse. Ozpin's
Yeah, Ozpin's worse.
way worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dumb, but on a whole other level of dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have, I don't know.
Can we be done with this movie and just give our overall scores now? I'm so done with this.
Yeah,
I'm so annoyed right now.
Yeah, I appreciate the idea. Yeah.
I want to watch episode 7. That's what I want to watch.
Yeah, I don't know. I do like the idea of. Oh, this is kind of where I again disagree with belated media that people. I don't know. People have seen the original trilogy and stuff like that. Like, we don't need to. I don't know. We don't need. Like, I think naming Luke and Leia was fine and stuff like that, and the idea of, I don't know, I guess another little bit of subtlety from Hayden Christensen's burn makeup and stuff like that is that moment of just, like, horror when the mask is descending on his face. I thought that was...
Yeah, it's, we finally get
I thought that was kind of a good moment, like...
see what he meant at the end of Return of the Jedi, when he was like, I want to see you with my own eyes.
Yeah. The idea of like this is the last thing he's gonna see with his eyes in a very long time is this mask descending on him.
Well, I mean, he obviously saw things.
And it was that. And it was kind of just that.
He obviously took the mask off to sleep or whatever. We see an Empire.
Okay, that's true.
Thing coming on, but yeah, still.
Yeah, but yeah, and
the symbolism still works.
It does.
Yeah, it was that good symbolism of just that. No. Oh gosh, this is what what have I become? And just like, to the point where I kind of appreciate that no in this. Kind of, but eh.
It was too cheesy.
Yeah.
I think you should.
I remember
just went more.
I appreciate what they were going for.
I think he just did more of a Vegeta scream.
Yeah, or just more. Yeah, just like I don't know, more despair.
I remember that line even when I first saw the film. I was like, "Whoa, that was cheesy."
Yeah.
Even I still remember this day how cheesy I thought that was.
Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. I remember walking out of. I remember the second time I watched it. This is, to this day, the only movie that I went back and saw twice in theaters.
Yeah.
Every other movie I've seen in theaters, I've only saw once in theaters.
Let's be real. This movie doesn't deserve that. Just saying.
I saw it opening weekend, and then I saw it again on my birthday. When I saw it on my birthday, it was the first time my family had seen it, because the first time it was just me, my dad, and my best friend. And we took our lightsabers with us and fought in the parking lot afterwards, and it was fun, good time. But the second time I saw it with my family, and my mom, who is sometimes more easy to please with movies than I am, but on the other end, she reads a lot of books, so when it comes to dialogue, she could be like, she could freaking cut some jokes. Like, she mocks that line all the time, like, Anakin, you're breaking my
heart. More so than the "I don't like sand" line.
Oh yeah.
No, the sand line is still the worst line ever.
Yeah, but I do think that was but yeah, I guess I don't know. Yeah, the long drawn out no was kind of weak. I feel like it should have been more just like, I don't know, just some sound of just despair. I feel like, or something. I don't know, because like the feelings there, the concepts there, and I think that's a lot of the issue with this movie in general is like, the ideas are there. I feel like the concepts are there. You know, the idea that the Jedi were in Anakin's way, and that's why he turned against them. I feel like that concept was there. It just feels it was just the delivery that was weak, I guess. But yeah.
Again, example of Clone Wars did it better. The whole thing of Ahsoka being framed for murder and arson and all that thing, and the Jedi expel her and put her on trial for murder, and it's only Anakin that gets her out of it, and that's why she leaves the Jedi Order. That's a much better example of like, hey, look, the Jedi are actually kind of assholes. Like, it's not them being stupid in that case. No, they're being douchebags there. Like, that whole thing, that was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen in Star Wars, was when Ahsoka leaves Anakin and leaves the Jedi Order. That, by far, had the most impact on me, more impact on me in anything in Star Wars, and actually had a bigger impact on me than quite a lot of other books and movies and TV shows have had. That was brilliantly done, given everything they did leading up to that as well. Also, the whole scene of Ahsoka going in to fight to face Vader for the last time, where she presumably dies, was also pretty fucking epic in Rebels too. So like that's where that's done better.
During that whole episode of Clone Wars, I just couldn't get over the fact that they were just rehashing the plot of The Fugitive. right down.
I'm fine with that because that's a good.
Pipeline stuff.
I'm okay with that though.
Yeah,
I totally don't mind that. Totally don't mind that. But either way, in that series, that is just so much better. Like, you feel like the Jedi are wrong, whereas here it's like, nah, they're just really dumb, and Anakin's like a whiny douchebag. That's all what I feel like. Also, again, the more I see this, the more I realize Hayden Christensen is not to blame for Anakin Skywalker. Like, a very small percentage. Maybe he's like a quarter at the most of what's to blame. That might be overestimating how much he's to blame. Otherwise, it's fucking what's his face, Lucas. Everything else is just Lucas.
I feel there's a couple lines that could have easily been delivered better had Hayden Christensen been a better actor.
So I said 25%. That's pretty fair. Most people think he's like 75% to blame. I don't agree with that at all.
No, and same with Jake Lloyd.
Yeah, definitely not Jake Lloyd's fault. He was 9 people. Anyway,
I give this movie.
I'm gonna keep hammering that one down.
Ooh, okay. We're giving our final verdict now. You give it a 5.
Yeah.
Was there anything else, or
it's slightly better than Clone Wars, but than Attack of the Clones?
You mean Attack of the Clones?
Attack of the Clones. Yes, way worse than the Clone Wars. But it misses. this one was more important to get right, and they only barely did things better. And all of the most important things, besides some excellent performances by Ewan McGregor and Ian McDiarmid, they get it all wrong still. The logic is more important to this movie. The logic is just as stupid and ridiculous and just completely takes you out of the moment. It just does not make, you're just questioning things the entire time. And you're like, why are the Jedi so stupid? Why is this happening? This doesn't make sense. That's all I was thinking this entire movie. And so much of it just takes too long to happen to, so it's a 5 at best for me.
Yeah.
Its Rotten Tomato score is way higher than it deserves right now.
I'll agree with that.
Well, I think, and I'm going to go ahead and give my final rating as I say this. It was a more entertaining film than the other two. Its highs were higher than Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, and its lows were not as low as Attack of the Clones, at least. And this movie got a lot of really good reception, way more so than Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. And it also made more money than Attack of the Clones. I think Phantom Menace made more money. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure Phantom Menace made way more money. I'm pretty sure the only Star Wars movies to make more money than Phantom Menace are Force Awakens and A New Hope. This is the start of the trilogy, so always make the most money. But man, they dropped the ball. If you would have asked me a year ago my rating, I would have said an 8 out of 10. But looking back on it now, they do drop the ball way too many times. I can't give this higher than a 7. And I'm going to say 7 just because I don't think it's a mediocre film. I think it is a good film. Which is why I'm giving it a 7. And it's not even a high 7. It's a low 7.
Yeah. My turn? Here.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, like when last week I watched Attack of the Clones for the first time in a while, and it was so much worse than I remember. And yeah. And Phantom Menace was a little better than I remember. This was pretty much how I remember it. It felt very rushed in places. And like I said, a lot of the concepts were there, they were hinted at. A lot of the ideas were good, and this could have worked, but because it was rushed and some of the way the dialogue was written, a lot of it didn't land. And I do agree that it was very well put together technically, and so I don't know. I feel like I do think this is the best of the prequels, which isn't exactly saying much. Kind of like I said this last week when we did our Ruby podcast and stuff like that. Being the best of 3 crappy episodes isn't saying much. But I do think that, and with the original trilogy, some of the some of the concepts, some of the ideas are things that you are a little vague at times, but if you pay attention, you catch the Empire let them go and stuff like that. And the idea that the Empire is winning up until the very end are things that, you see when you pay close enough attention. With this, the concepts are there, but you have to squint way too hard to see them. So, yeah, that's my thought. I'd say I don't think it comes close to any of the original trilogy. So, yeah. And I guess if I had to put a number rating on it, if we're doing that, I'd give it probably a 7. Because I will say this, it did make me start to care about Anakin and Padme a little bit.
That's true.
A little bit,
Never
just a
me too.
little bit. So, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
in
I
a
mean,
while.
if
It made me care about Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan.
If my
So.
views on the prequels keep going on this trajectory, this time next year, I might actually be more of a fan of Phantom Menace.
I still maintain that as a standalone movie, I hate Phantom Menace the least for some reason.
It does the least
enough,
wrong.
It does the least wrong. That's the thing. Like
The
this
least
one
important
misses
stuff. Like low risk, low reward. It was out there enough.
and I can understand anybody's argument for it being the worst just because in concept it's the worst because they really should have had Anakin be
Its
introduced
flaws
older.
could have been so easily fixed.
Yeah, but that's
the flaws in
biggest
Attack
thing.
of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith were not easy patchworks that you can just.
Yeah,
they
really
should have
had
done
to do a
this. They
lot.
should have done this.
Yeah.
I said 2 weeks ago. I mean, you fix like 70% of Phantom Menace's problems if you just have Obi-Wan be the one going out and to Tatooine instead of Qui-Gon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With this, there are several scenes that you have to fix. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Oh well, still hyped for Last Jedi. Better be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and it would be another 10 years before we get a real Star Wars movie in theaters. And we'll talk about that maybe next time. We might do a Clone Wars podcast before then.
I want to do a Clone Wars podcast.
We'll see.
Even though all of these have turned into Clone Wars podcasts anyways. That's what I've done to all these podcasts, and I'm not sorry. I'm not even slightly sorry.
So, if you like this video and you want to see more, hit that like button and comment your thoughts on Revenge of the Sith. Subscribe to my channel. I just hit 400 subscribers the other day. I'm at like 410 now. My subscribers have been going up a lot since the new Ruby volume started. Or I think it actually
imagine that.
Well, it actually started skyrocketing when my honest look at the fight scenes went to Reddit.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's when my subscriber base started like just skyrocketing. Like up to that point, I had like 90 subscribers, and then since then, and it's only been a few months, I've gotten like 300 something subscribers just since that video.
Cool.
Even though that video is also probably my most hated.
What's the whole all press is good press, man?
Yep, all presses.
Yep. You said what nobody else had the guts to say.
Yeah. Which tends to happen a lot in my videos. And I do writing stuff. Links in the doobly-doo.
Hey, you're at 411 now.
Yeah. That's all that's all I'm plugging for today.
Okay.
And
I'll plug again.
It's finals week, so I'm not going to be doing like any writing. Really, I might not even have a review. Like, for those of you who watch my Ruby stuff, I might not even have a Ruby review next week. I've got finals and stuff next week, so I'll see how fast I could throw it together Monday. Yeah, it might get postponed.
Okay. All right. And in case you guys missed the Ruby or my plug at the end of this most recent Ruby podcast I am finally starting up my own YouTube channel called Tides of Glory, and I'm going to be starting a new video series entitled Character Interpretations. My first one will be out by the end of this week. It'll be a character interpretation of Ratatouille's Anton Ego. I already have the audio down for that, so I just need to edit. So, yeah.
So
check that out when it comes out. I'll let you know. Yes, it is. Okay.
And do you have anything?
Nope.
All right.
I'll do one last plug for our Facebook group, Ruby and Beyond, where fans of Ruby can get together and talk about whatever their nerdy hearts desire. So, I'm
including Marvel stuff and anime and our Lord and Savior, J.K. Simmons.
As always. And as always, thanks for watching.
Praise be to J.K.
Praise
Simmons.
be to J.K. Simmons, who is not in Star Wars at all, I think.
No, he's not.
No, he is not.
But he should have been.